you take those things with a grain of salt. Of course, everyone's going to say the right things about we're relentless, we're going to win, we're going to go get them, nobody can outwork us, and all those things, of course. But as I've told my kids in particular, and this is what resonated with me as I watched this, is that everybody's going to say those things. I'm a workaholic, I'm a perfectionist, I do all the right things in a job interview, but you need to be able to describe it in unique terms. You need to be able to give substance to it through real life experiences, through stories. And I thought some of his stories were quite riveting and real. And I came away quite impressed.
I agree. I think he nailed the press conference, and you said the term that a lot of Duck fans were saying, I'm ready to run through a wall for this guy. I like the youth movement. This is the first time, I'm 43. It's the first time I've had a coach on as our university who's younger than me. So obviously won't be the last. But, it's just one of those things where, yeah, we're going to give it a shot. It's going with the whole youth movement. The entire head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator are all in their 30s, mid 30s to low 30s. And we'll see how it goes. Obviously, everybody's concerned about experience. How much experience do these guys have? I was thinking about it this morning, talking with somebody else about, it would be nice to have a play caller who's called plays a little bit longer than maybe 2 years to jump onto this train when you have such high expectations. But if you know football and you have an opportunity to call plays, well, then go for it. I don't know if there's that big of a difference. Obviously, there's a lot more knowledge on the back end of a guy like Joe Moorhead, who's had a tremendous amount of experience, but maybe that also creates a little bit more of a conservative approach, and the fan bases want to see these offenses air it out and score points. So maybe the young guys give us a chance to do that.
Yeah, and the advent of the advanced metrics in recent years and the implementation has really shown us that by being aggressive in the long run, it pays off in regards to taking those fourth down gambles and such. It pays off in the long run. The percentages tell you more possessions, you keep the ball, all those sorts of things, obviously depending on a number of aspects in addition to that. So you'd mentioned to me before we started to record, Ryan, 4 to 5 years. Are Oregon fans prepared for that, or are they thinking Mario Cristobal had us here, Dan Lanning's going to take over, and we're going to start here and just keep going?
Right. I think that's kind of the glass ceiling, right? That's that thing that we've been, as Oregon fans, have been in that conversation a couple different times, but this is not a program that you can compare historically to any other program in the country. With its rise over the last 30 to 20 to 15 years, whatever case you want to look at it, it feels as if this is a team that needs to do more than what they were doing in the last year. Yes, there were some great recruiting classes, but it felt like the on-field coaching might have been limited, and the outcomes were not what they desired. Even though you were winning games this year, you were winning them very close, and you had some real questionable calls, it felt like. So, going forward, I think this guy has a lot of pressure on him to win right now and take this team to the next level. And I seriously don't know if he's going to be able to do it until he does it. And I don't think that that's ever been the case, for Oregon to be able to get a proven head coach. I think most of the time, if you go back to Oregon's track record, they've hired, for the most part, inexperienced head coaches that were experienced offensive coordinators. And in this case, I really like the direction they're going with the defensive side. Knowing that in the last 3 years, their best recruits have all been on the defensive side. Continuing this year, out of the early signing day, they had 7 kids. 6 of them were on the defense. 1 of them was an offensive lineman. So the approach to this team has been get the best athletes they can on the defensive side, which historically was not necessarily the case for Oregon. Oregon was such an offensive-focused team. And I do think there's a lot of Duck fans that want to see wins, but they want to see wins that are creative. They were talking about how they were bored this year with these wins. And I was like, hey, a win is a win. Have you guys not been paying attention to college football? It's not easy to get. And I think there is some heightened expectations, and maybe the bandwagon is carrying some of that is with it, where it does not really have the reality of the history of this program in check. And they think that it's national championship or bust every single year. And you got to compete with the Pac-12 first. I mean, this year, Utah beat them twice. So you can't go off saying your competition's Ohio State and Alabama if you're going to get beat in your own conference.